let the listeners know.
Oh.
If they can't tell from our, from our audibleness, we both got face tattoos. And they're so loud, you can hear it on the... No, we're both a little under the weather. So
this is not audio trickery. My
usual dreamy Barry White-esque baritone is no doubt a raspy Tina Turner soprano. Yeah.
I can pitch you down in post. Welcome, this is X-Rated. I'm Ryan Whedon.
And I'm Matt Fisher. And
we talk about movies.
We talk about movies. Our origin story is that we dated for about 3 weeks, 9 years ago.
9 years ago.
Well, this is like our I should have mentioned this in the first episode, so this is like our prequel.
Okay.
This is our Phantom Menace.
Oh no.
I remember the exact day that we broke up. Not because like it was like etched in my mind, but because like I was depressed and had to get out of the house. So I went up to a coffee shop with Wi-Fi with my laptop, and I got a Facebook account for the first time. Like I didn't have one before that, and I just needed like a distraction. So I went out, and so like the first friends that I have on Facebook, whenever I see an alert that like, oh, you've been friends for 9 years, it's like that was the day.
That was it. How funny. Yeah, because that was still the MySpace era.
Yeah.
When we started dating.
Yeah, that's right.
Jeez. I was thinking the other day, I don't really remember how MySpace worked. You know? Like, I remember there's like a bulletin board, you post a bulletin, but then I remember people like responding to it somehow.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly how, if it was like a comment thread or something.
Yeah, or if it just sent you a message when they wrote on it, or what.
The thing that I remember hating about MySpace is that everyone could like customize their own backgrounds, and everyone chose like stupid like paisley patterns that like with like neon green text on it. It was like a GeoCities website or something. And then that you could have a song. Like when people visited your page, there could be a song.
That would automatically play.
Yeah. So if you're already listening to something else, you had someone else's shitty taste in music, like...
Suddenly.
Yeah.
So it wasn't so much that you hated those things about MySpace, just people's taste.
Well, I also didn't like how it made you rank friends. Like, you had your top 8.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
And, like, it was always, like, drama if you switched it around.
That's right, gosh. Why did he do that?
I don't know.
That's kind of mean.
I feel like it's just asking for trouble.
Yeah.
Like, you're ranking your closest friends. It's like that episode of Seinfeld where he's dating that chick from Gilmore Girls. And she, like, moves him up on her speed dial after a good date. And then, like, bumps him down after a bad date. So he, like, goes all out and, like, wows her because he's more interested in, like, the game than the girl. And, like, he gets to number 1, and, like, her stepmother is, like, super competitive. She's like, I worked for years to get that top spot. So, yeah, it's sort of like that, but I don't know if I've called it to get people competing for my number 1 spot on MySpace.
Yeah, I'm wondering if I actually hurt anybody's feelings now.
Yeah.
Because they thought that we were better friends than I did, I guess, according to where I placed them in my MySpace friend group.
Yeah.
Yeah. If anybody's listening who was my friend 10 years ago, and you're really hurt that I did not put you in my top 8, please let me know. Nicely.
I also learned a hard lesson from MySpace.
Oh, yeah, what's that?
That things that, like, go on the internet or into the cloud are not necessarily permanent.
Yeah.
When I went
Usually people say the other way around.
Well, when I went to, like, go find some old pictures, like, this is, like, when Napster or whatever had bought out MySpace. And, like, there was, like, 4 pictures left of, like, the hundreds that I had uploaded. Yeah, it really sucked. Like, I kind of, like, uploaded them as, like, that way I didn't have to keep them on a hard drive or, like, you know, anything like that. And then, yeah, when I went to go retrieve them, they were all gone.
Yeah.
So, yeah, fuck you, MySpace.
Nothing lasts forever.
I guess not.
Apparently.
Oh, okay.
I watched a movie this weekend that is totally worth watching. High Rise. Have you seen this?
No.
Tom... Oh, God, I'm going to mess up his name. Hiddleston? He's the Loki dude. He stars in it. It's based on a J.G. Ballard novel. And it just like it takes place in this one building, and it's like the class structure of the building is associated with the floors of the building. So
okay. Like Snowpiercer, except in a building.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
I made that. I was thinking that same thing.
I like my allegories super literate, so
yeah.
that's good.
It's a little ham-fisted at some points, and it could use some editing, I felt. It felt a little bloated. But overall, it was a good flick. Lots of naked Hiddleston, if you're into that.
He's got a nice rear, like from the things that I've scavenged online.
Yeah, he's not afraid to show it off.
Yeah.
Which is great.
You get full frontal, too?
No, but there is like a shot of him taking a shower and from the top, so you kind of see a top-down view. Okay. But not really.
Not a full money shot. Okay.
No. You have to really pause it at the right moment if you wanted to see anything.
It's like Ben Affleck and Gone Girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Which is, it's worth it.
Yeah, it's there. I mean, someone's probably made a GIF of it already, so.
I like how you say GIF.
Yeah, that's the proper pronunciation.
I agree with you. I also say GIF, but like there's a strong, full-throated backlash.
I mean, I was a GIF man for the longest time because it's clearly that's the way it looks to me. But once the guy who invented it came out and said it's a GIF, I just decided, well, you win. It's your thing. We'll call it what you want. So
when you watch Young Frankenstein, you yell at the guy, "It's Frankenstein!"
Frankenstein! Oh, man. That's a great movie. That
really
holds up.
It really, truly, like, I watched it in September. I watched all the Mel Brooks films. Not a hidden gem in that catalog. Like, the famous ones are famous for a reason, and the not famous ones are rightly forgotten. But when I watch Young Frankenstein, like, there's, like, the song and dance number at the end.
Yeah.
I feel almost uncomfortable, like, they're making fun of, like, mentally handicapped people.
Maybe.
Like, just, like, a pinch of it. It's still really funny, though. Like, I'm still laughing. So, I'm sick a little bit. My body is rancid, but my mind is sharp.
Oh, good.
But I was thinking about this earlier. I was like, no, I can still do this today. Like, my mind's like a cat. Which reminded me of Tobias Funke saying, like, he's like a cat, always on all fours. And I thought of a good discussion topic.
Oh, okay.
When do gay jokes cease being funny and become offensive?
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's a lot of gay jokes in Arrested Development.
Yeah.
But I don't know anyone who's ever actually been, like, offended by it.
That's funny because there's also a lot of, I think about this sometimes, there's a lot of racial stuff on Arrested Development, too, that I always laughed at, but I never realized that, oh, this could actually be offensive to somebody. Or is that show just transcends that whole thing? I'm not sure.
I don't know. Like, I laugh at all the gay jokes in Arrested Development, and, like, the racial jokes. And, like, in 30 Rock, too, there's a lot of racial jokes in that.
Yeah.
And I still laugh at it. And, like, they almost, like, normalize it a little bit. Like, yeah, some people are racist.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I was just thinking about that earlier today. I was like, I wonder why, like, that's funny to me.
I don't know where that line is for me. Yeah, it really, it's probably pretty far. And it has to feel malicious somehow,
Yeah, I guess, like, sort of Tobias is the butt of the joke because, like, he's the only one who doesn't realize it.
Right.
And that if they were making fun of him for being gay, like, that'd be one thing, but it's like he's the only one out of the loop on it.
Yeah, he just doesn't.
So I guess it's more of his cluelessness that we're laughing at.
Yeah. Less so than they're making fun of gay people.
Yeah. Because, no one's really judgmental about it, I guess.
Yeah, they still love him.
Yeah. So, but I was just thinking about that.
That's a good question. That I have no answer to, unfortunately.
Yeah, I heard an interview with, like, the guys from The Onion once, like, the two, like, editors-in-chiefs or something, and, like, someone asked, like, you guys make some, like, pretty racy jokes sometimes, like, where do you draw the line? And they said that, like, if the butt of the joke is not, like, deserving of our ire in any way, then we just don't think it's funny.
Yeah.
So, like, the butt of the joke always has to, like, be asking for it in some way. So...
And they're really great. Has there ever been an Onion article that they've gone back on and said, "Oh, we're really sorry about that"?
I don't think so.
I don't ever remember reading about that either.
Like there was the one about the Redskins coach where they call him all these like Jewish.
That one
names.
is amazing.
Yeah. I thought I was like,
we will not be repeating any of that on this podcast, but it's good. You should check it out.
I thought for certain that that was gonna cause an uproar, but no one really seemed too upset by it.
No one batted an eye. You want to talk about the Sweet Hereafter?
I do want to talk about the Sweet Hereafter.
I don't.
Really?
No, I do. This movie it's a bummer.
I was going to say, I guess this would be the time that we introduce our listeners that I really like bummer movies.
God.
I love Mysterious Skin when I was an immature teenager because, it reflected my fiery passions.
Uh-huh.
The movies that I kind of cut my teeth on were the interpersonal dramas of Ingmar Bergman and things like that.
Oh man, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I've kind of grown out of it just because there's so many bad ones.
Right.
Drama done bad is the most intolerable, anti-cinematic thing imaginable.
So it feels like a high school play or something.
Yeah, it's all just melodrama.
Yeah, and you're embarrassed for everybody involved.
Yeah. But the Sweet Hereafter, it's about a small Canadian town sort of grappling with the new reality after a school bus careens into a frozen lake and sinks. The only survivors are the bus driver and one girl played by Sarah Polley. Her character's name is Nicole. And she's crippled because of it. She's paralyzed from the waist down. And all the other children, passed away, under the frozen water.
Ugh.
And yeah, it's not the chipperest of movies.
I had to look up when it was over. I was like, how did they market this movie? Because
I guess it was a flop.
It was not a box office success. That's true. But I mean, how are you ever going to sell it? I mean, hey, let's go see that movie where the school bus crashes and all the children die.
Yeah.
I just need to make sure I can feel something again.
I know I would be first in line.
Yeah, it's you should check out the trailer though. It's really funny. They never mentioned the school bus crash actually. It's
really?
Just they're in a town where everyone knows each other. Something will change them. It's real 90s. It's real funny.
I mean, there's a lot of really 90s things Sarah Polley's Polley,
I think, yeah.
Okay. Her character is singing that Jane Siberry
song
my
at
God. The beginning.
I had trouble with the songs, and I watching it this time through again reminded me that's the one thing about this movie that takes me out.
Oh yeah, it really dates it for one thing.
Yeah, that's the only
really
thing.
dates it. And then there's a tragically hip song that they use.
Yeah.
And it's boy, if I had to throw a dart at 90s bands, one of those two would probably be hits.
Yeah. And it's the only part about this movie that really that bothers me in that way that I just come immediately out and I'm like, this is 97 speaking to me.
Yeah. Yeah, everything else doesn't seem to have aged or doesn't seem aged, I should say.
Right.
Everything else seems fairly timeless, but yeah, there's two songs that are shoehorned in. And actually, just so 90s.
Apparently Sarah Polley worked with the guy who was doing the soundtrack, and they made those songs together, and that's actually her singing them.
Yeah, so, yeah, that I knew. All that wasted talent.
I know.
But
I love Sarah Polley, by the way. Big fan.
Yeah, I do too. Did you see the documentary that she did about her dad?
I did. I forgot to look up the name of it.
Yeah, I can't remember either.
It was good.
It was good. Yeah.
I actually really liked the two other dramas she did too. Take This Waltz and Away From Her. Is that right? That was her first. That was her directorial debut.
Oh, it was?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, Away From Her, 2006.
Yeah, it stars somebody famous too.
Julie Christie.
Oh, okay. There we go.
I have not seen that movie.
Well, we're talking about this other movie.
We're talking about Sweet Hereafter. So, I saw this movie a while back, and I'd always liked it, and I'd been feeling the need to rewatch it recently.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a certain day in November where bunch of people were feeling despondent afterwards. In fact, one of the other podcasts that I listened to, the West Wing Weekly, they in the episode that came out after the election, they had recorded it the day before, but hadn't released it for the next 5 or 6 days or something.
Right.
And they had the intro music on it, and it just slows down. And they talked about how on election night they talked about not continuing the podcast.
Oh my
gosh!
gosh!
They had just this existential crisis of nothing matters. Why are we doing this flimsy little podcast? It's so much more trouble than it's worth. Yeah. And they said that they're feeling better now, and they will continue. But there was a 48-hour period where they're just fuck it. I don't want to do this anymore. And I remember, I don't know if it was you that I texted, but I remember I got out of town for a couple days just because I wanted to shake up my normal routine. Mm-hmm. And I texted someone that I was having trouble finding relevance in my day-to-day activities. And I think that's kind of what made me get the urge to really rewatch this.
Okay.
Because that's what the characters are doing. The movie is really about the survivor's grief. It's not necessarily about the tragedy. It's an exploration of their grief,
right? And
the forms that it's taking, and how they're trying to get on with their day-to-day lives. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that it for some reason when I was watching it, it kind of kicked that into gear for me. I was like, oh, sure. Maybe that's why I was drawn to this at this time. Just because it really strays away from melodrama. There's not a lot of yelling. There's not a lot of big monologues. There's not stuff like that.
Yeah.
It really just kind of focuses on small character developments as the movie goes. I also love the way that it's the non-linear storyline of it.
I like that a lot too.
It doesn't start and end with the bus crashing. That's thrown in.
That happens in the middle of the movie. Yeah. We actually see it.
I also love how those scenes were shot, the roving camera, behind the school bus, and the way that it would just sort of swing in other directions. I thought that they captured that snow-covered town so beautifully.
I was thinking with those aerial shots, it kind of felt I don't know if you want to go there, but the hand of God or something, looking down on this bus and then kind of ushering it off the edge or something like that, because I don't think we have any more aerial shots after that.
Yeah, I don't think so.
And just while we're talking about it, did they sink a bus?
I mean, that's what it looks like.
It looks like they really drove that bus onto the lake and then it goes in, because it's all one shot.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't look CG. It doesn't look like it's some other bus.
Yeah, I don't know how that... Or a tiny one somewhere, that...
Yeah, I didn't see anything, because, I looked up, the IMDb trivia, and I didn't mention
I tried to find that, too. I wonder if it'll come out on, a special feature somewhere, but...
Yeah. But, yeah, this one, it's been such a long time since I've really, liked an interpersonal drama.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, when I watched this, I was like, oh, this is so good.
It's a great movie. There isn't a bright spot in it, though. Do you feel that way? I really feel like this movie starts low and stays down there.
Yeah.
It never, and it doesn't even really offer any kind of relief at the end either. And this is not a criticism. Sometimes you need that, and especially if you're talking about grief, because that's how grief feels. When you're in the middle of it, is that it'll never get better.
Yeah.
And so, maybe that's one of the statements this film is doing. But it's I couldn't even imagine injecting any levity into this.
Yeah, film. There's not a joke or anything like that, or any sort of sort of icebreaker or whatever you want to call it, something to breathe some life into it. It really is just sort of dour from start to finish. The movie starts with Ian Holm in that car wash. And I love the way that shot is framed. You can see his eyes unmoving in the rearview mirror, and then you have all the stuff moving in the car wash.
Right.
I don't know. I thought that was a great little composition there. And then he has his first conversation with his daughter, and that was rough.
Right. Yeah. That's just how he just plops you in there.
Yeah. And yeah, it's I don't know. It felt so bad every time he talked to his daughter. He was so cold.
Yeah. But rightfully so.
Yeah.
I mean, after a while, you just got to say, I can't help you. And I think that's a really great character or motivation for him, because we're talking about, here's somebody who's trying to get, compensation for these families, for their children who've died.
Yeah.
While he has a child of his own that is more or less dead. To him.
Yeah.
Because she's awful. I mean, she's an addict.
Yeah.
But it's like, that's no excuse.
Yeah, but like she's super manipulative and
yeah,
and calls him for money
and
so like the first couple shots, like there's this scene with Ian Holm and he's like talking to his daughter, and then pretty quickly after that is like we see Sarah Polley. I
think it's Polley.
Chronicling my inability to pronounce people's names. And I watched this with someone, and so there's the scene of like her at the fair singing the Jane Siberry song,
right?
And then like her dad is watching,
right? And
like after she gets off the stage, she talks about like, oh, I'm gonna make you this stage, it's gonna be all lit in candles and blah 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 blah. And she's like, oh, thanks, Dad. And the person I was watching goes, Dad.
Yeah, no, Daddy.
Daddy. He goes, Daddy. He's like, I thought that was just like her older boyfriend. He's like, by the way that like he was like looking at her on the stage, he's like,
I know.
I thought that was her boyfriend.
It goes dark.
Yeah. And, I thought that was like a really like, if he thought that by watching it, and then as the movie goes, you find out that they're incestuous.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. Like it makes a lot of sense then. Like that was definitely like a planned effect.
Yeah. Well, and also just, if you notice, just because we're still talking about this part of the movie, Ian Holmes' daughter calls him Daddy, says the word Daddy over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And so I noticed that, and then when she says it, it just, like, that word pops, like your brain's ready to hear that, I guess.
I mean, they drew a lot of parallels between, like, the two daughters.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the last phone call that Ian Holm gets, I think it's the last one where she's like, I'm positive.
Right.
And he's like, do you have a blood test? And, stuff like that. And she goes, why don't you believe me? I'm positive.
Right.
And then when Sarah Polley's at, like, the deposition, and they're like, are you sure about the speed of the bus? And she goes, I'm positive.
Yeah. There it is.
Yeah, so, like,
It's a good writing.
Yeah, like, they drew, like, I thought nice little parallels between, like, the two daughters sort of fucking with their fathers.
Yeah. Oh.
You can tell that Ian Holmes' character, Mitchell Stevens?
Yeah.
He is really, like, not motivated by money. Like, you can tell that, like, he is angry.
Yeah.
And, like, his motivation is, like, he wants someone to pay for this. Like,
right.
Not just, like, Dolores, like, the school bus driver. Like, he's like, no, someone has to, like, lose something themselves because of this.
Right.
Yeah, he just doesn't seem motivated by money. Like, he's really doing it out of, like, anger and frustration. Like, he tells, like, the Ottos, like, the hippie family,
mm-hmm.
He's like, I will be your voice in anger, but not in grief.
Right. I wrote that one down.
Yeah. And, like, he gets, like, really kind of short with the townspeople in some scenes, too. Like,
right.
There's that scene with Dolores, and, like, I like the scene how it was, like, framed. It's, like, Dolores is on one side of the frame,
mm-hmm.
and Ian Holm is sort of, like, off sitting in a chair, and the camera kind of pans back and forth, like, between their talking.
Right.
And Ian Holm gets up, and, like, between them is her husband who had the stroke.
Right.
And, like, they come closer and closer together, and then the moment that her husband starts talking, it's like they kind of take a step back out of frame, and the camera, like, zooms in
right.
on him, and suddenly, like, it's about him. Like, the scene is, like, his scene.
Right.
I don't know. It was just, like, a very subtle, like, sort of long take that I thought was very good. But, like, he was getting short with her. Like, he was getting angry that, like, she wasn't trying to clear her own name.
Right. And he's like, I need to do this for this suit to work. You need to play ball with me here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just wanted to say, I remember the thing I wanted to say before real fast. He talks about when he's talking about his daughter and has to take her to the hospital with the Black Widow bite. He says, the doctor says, which one is she more calm with? And he says, well, like, we were both, freaking out and crazy, but I was the better actor.
Yeah.
And so the line that Sarah Polley has at her deposition where he says, you'd make a great poker player, kid, or something like that, really speaks to that acting, which is, like, kind of what you have to do when you're going through grief. You know, you just kind of have to pull yourself together and find a way to move forward.
Yeah.
Or, like, at least put up appearances that you're okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a good point. Yeah. Yeah. Something like, you're a good, or you make a hell of a poker player.
Yeah, something like that. I just, while I'm thinking about it, I didn't think about this until now, but, like, just grief in general. Yeah. There's a really good scene in Rabbit Hole. I don't know if you saw that movie.
I saw that in theaters, like, a long, long time ago, but yeah.
I just love the description that Diane Wiest says, where it's like, she says something like, grief is like a big stone, and you get crushed underneath it, and then slowly that stone gets smaller and smaller until the point where you can just put it in your pocket. And then it never goes away, and so sometimes you'll just, be going about your day, and then you put your hand in the pocket and see it's still there. It'll always be there.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
The small town in this, I thought, was like the perfect small town. 'Cause it's like, it's cold, which I think kind of, fits like the grief. Mm-hmm. Like everyone's sort of physically isolated from one another because of the snow. Like it's a trek to get to someone else's house.
Right.
Which I think kind of fits, like, the mood. Like, people are isolated from one another. You don't see too many of the families interacting with each other. It's mostly Ian Holm going between the families.
Yeah,
like,
good point.
There is, like, Billy Ansell, and he goes over to the one family's house. Nicole Walker's, is that their name?
I think so.
But, like, other than that, you don't see too much. Like, Billy Ansell kind of goes between them, and he's having the affair with, like, the motel owner's wife.
Mm-hmm. That might have to do with the structure of the book, because apparently the book is told linearly, but it's just like the lawyer going to each chapter is just like a different story, a different family telling their side of the story kind of situation. Okay. So that might have something to do with the way that the movie got structured.
Yeah, I want to, like, read the book, so, like, I don't know how the director, Atom Egoyan,
I think that's right.
I don't know how he saw a movie in this material.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't, like, if I was just reading the script, I wouldn't see how to, like, do something with it, but
yeah,
I thought he did a great job of making it, like, dynamic and
agreed,
visually interesting. And
well, and, like, just the thought of wanting to spend that much time with this material is really scary to me. Like, that's a brave and difficult choice that I probably wouldn't make. I did do some reading, and he said, apparently, let's see, film is for confronting the most extreme things in his mind, and so, he probably read this book and was like, oh yeah, this is extreme. This is extreme enough for film.
I wish he'd apply that to his other movies.
I haven't seen it. I looked up the list of things he's done. I haven't seen any of them. He must really stick in Canada.
He did one called, like, Exotica.
Right? That was the one just before this one.
Yeah. And that one's pretty good. It's just like this mood experiment. Mm-hmm. It kind of reminds me of, like, the club scene in Mulholland Drive.
Oh.
Like,
weird.
Yeah. Like, not, like, 100%, but I think they were going for the same type of mood, except he was trying to do it, like, for the whole film. And it's really different. Like, that one's, like, experiments with color, and, like, that one, if I remember correctly, it's been a long time since I've seen it. Very loose plot. Like, it's not a movie about the plot. It's like about, like, the feelings. But other than that, I saw one of his other movies called, like, Remember, and it has Christopher Plummer in it, and he's an Auschwitz survivor. It's another chipper one.
This is just where he goes.
Yeah, and it has a twist ending, and it's just like the cheapest Shyamalan twist.
Boo.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like, this is the only movie of his that, like, I've ever, like, really latched onto. Mm-hmm. Like, Exotica is definitely, like, a fine film, but I don't know if it inspired the emotions that he was aiming for me at least.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one's definitely more like this moody, sort of strange thing.
Yeah. This film is really moody, though.
This film is really moody, but it's different. Like, this is, I think, it has a slightly more literal mood to it.
I read some critic said that this movie has healthy ambiguity.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good way to describe it. There's no answers in this movie.
No.
You don't get any nothing gets tied up nice and put in a bow.
I mean, even like the way the movie ends, it's just like the day before the accident. Like,
right.
That's where it ends. One thing I noticed that there was sort of like this like recurring motif of like light coming in, like in the car wash in the beginning.
Okay.
Like the scene ends as like the wipers or whatever the things kind of like sway to one side and you get like a big blast of sunlight.
Right.
And there's like a scene when like the camera's following the bus up the mountain and it kind of like pans up to the sky.
Okay.
And gives you bright. And the movie ends, it's nighttime, and Sarah Polley's character goes to the window. It's before the accident, so she can still walk. Mm-hmm. And she looks out the window and it's nighttime and the outside just goes all white.
Right.
So, like, yeah, there's, like, the recurring theme of, like, brightness. I don't know what it signifies, but...
Yeah, I mean, you could go several ways. Like, when people pass away, they say that... Or they have near-death experiences, they're, like, going towards the light.
Yeah.
Also, you could probably interpret that as, like... Finally breaking through grief is, like, finally stepping into the light, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. I did question that ending, though, a lot.
Yeah, it was a weird... and, like, weird has negative connotations to it. It was just an unusual spot to, like, end the film.
Yeah, because just before that, too, there's that gorgeous shot of Sarah Polley at the amusement park, and there's, like, the weird parachute thing spinning.
Yeah.
And then they slowly just disappear out of frame, and you just see the sky.
Yeah.
Which could, be interpreted as, like, going up to heaven or whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
But, like, that seems like an ender shot for me.
Yeah.
But, yeah, he goes that next step and takes it back into the house. Maybe because she survived. I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe he just wanted to, like, bring it back to, like, the Pied Piper theme. Mm-hmm. Which, that poem seems really kind of dark. Like, I remember, like, the story being dark, but, like, it seems, like, a little too dark to read to children.
Yeah.
maybe it's because I don't have any kids and I don't know the actual sensibilities of children. But I feel like it's, like, sad. Like, I mean, even, like, the tale of it is, like, the lame child who survived, who couldn't dance their way to the mountain, is sad. Like,
and has to live by himself with no children.
Has to live by himself, with no peers for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Did you ever see the Disney Pied Piper
cartoon?
It's just a short little silly symphony thing. And at the very end, it looks like the kid who's on the crutches isn't going to get let in. But then, at the last minute, the Pied Piper opens the rock again, and he like ushers the kid in, and the kid can run free without his crutches, and he like breaks the crutches on his knee and throws it out. It's like happy ending.
That's not the bummer ending.
I know. So
way to ruin it, Disney.
I know, they've always got to make it happy.
Yeah, I guess family friendly is sort of their thing.
Yeah.
This reinforces my sort of what's the word I'm looking for? I guess fear of small towns. I don't care for small towns.
Yeah. I don't like everyone knowing what I'm doing all the time.
It's not like every small town. Like, some small towns are vibrant and joyful.
Sure.
But, like, yeah, I can just, like, feel the boredom in towns like that.
Yeah.
And this is, like, there was the Spread Eagle in this town. Classiest name a bar's ever gotten.
I noticed that, too.
But it was the only bar in that town. Like, that's how small it was. Like, they had a bar.
Yeah.
And everyone seemed to kind of hate each other. Like, the first family that he goes to, like, the motel owners, like, have nothing good to say about anyone else in town. And even, like, Dolores, who, like, really was, like, sweet and, like, really didn't say anything bad about anyone, she was talking about the Ottos and, like, well, they contribute to school fundraisers and that they're at every PTA meeting, but they're not churchgoers.
Yeah.
Like, that, they couldn't be model citizens because they weren't churchgoers.
Right.
I'm like, oh my god, I could never survive in a small town.
I wonder, so while we're talking about Dolores, I'm wondering how she got a job again, driving a bus.
They pay her very, very little.
What's that?
They pay her very, very little.
Oh, probably.
I mean, that's a big thing with, like, truck drivers. You can get truck drivers on the cheap, like, outside of Union, if they have, like, a DUI or something like that. So,
jeez.
If you're running your own independent freight company, you can hire those people on the cheap.
Oh.
Yeah, it wasn't the... Like, that was another thing. It's like, that was like a scene, like, it probably didn't even need to be there, but it's just a reminder that it's like, life does go on, but like...
And nobody wins. And nobody... Yeah. And everybody's scarred from this situation, you know?
I mean, yeah, like, very physical, real, literal scars.
Tragedy.
But,
not a fun thing.
Yeah, one thing I noticed, Nicole's father said that he was going to make her this beautiful stage.
Right.
Lit all with candles. And then when he takes her to that barn and has sex with her, it's lit all with candles.
I noticed that too. It's gross.
It's so gross.
That scene where he says, you know, where he's like, I'm going to take you in tomorrow morning for your deposition, and she's like trying to find a connection with him again, that was the most affecting scene for me this time through, because she doesn't know how to have a relationship with her father now, or he doesn't know how to have one with her when he's not able to have sex with her, or like try to make her into a rock star. And it's like she reaches out to him in that moment, and all he can say is, I'll get you up around 9:30, and then you see her turn away and start to tear up, and she just goes back to okay. You know?
Oh yeah.
That scene, and then that's probably when she decides, like, I'm gonna fuck him up.
Yeah.
And, you know, I guess good. I don't know.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, it like, if you're not really paying attention, you could be like, wow, what a bitch. Like, she just, like, screwed her father over. But it's like, when you watch it closer and you, like, watch their faces as they're interacting and how she's wanting, like, some sign that, like, he still, like, really cares about her like he did before.
Yeah, and he can't do it.
He can't do it.
Maybe that speaks to, like, what Ian Holmes' thing is about, talking about getting some kind of compensation, like, somebody has to pay for this. And so, since, like, he's probably not going to go to jail or anything, somebody has to pay. Yeah. And this is how she's making him pay for it. You know?
Yeah, there is sort of, like, a theme of, like, vengeance, like, or revenge going through the movie. Like, Ian Holmes' character is definitely motivated by that. Yeah. And I guess at the end, like, you could say that, like, the reason why Sarah Polley lied was...
She doesn't die.
She doesn't die. Is that she wants, like, revenge on, you know, the abuse that her father put her through. Yeah. Yeah.
It's dark. I had some fun facts about this movie.
Sure.
That I looked up. One is that Donald Sutherland was originally going to play Ian Holmes' role.
I read that.
And he had to back out, and so this was, like, kind of a star turn in a way for Ian Holm, because I don't know of other movies he did before this. He was mostly a stage actor, right?
Well, he was in Alien.
Oh, duh. Yeah,
he was the android.
Right.
He was in, from the same year, The Fifth Element.
Right. Yeah.
Which I actually rewatched after talking to you.
Oh, yeah?
Because I was like, yeah, that movie's kind of cool, and I have it on Blu-ray, so I was like, yeah, I'm going to watch it tonight.
Does it still hold? It still kind of holds up,
right?
Oh,
it definitely holds up. Yeah. Like, it's a little stupid French sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, it has that, like, sort of, like, Jerry Lewis type of humor that, like, I'm allergic to, but for the most part, it's really good.
Yeah.
Like, even the effects really hold up nicely.
Yeah, it's a fun movie.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Yeah, Ian Holmes in that. And...
You don't want to watch that movie with me, because I can actually quote along with her.
Oh, really?
In the Mondachiwan
is that
language.
The R is singing?
Well, no. When she's talking in the Mondachiwan.
Oh! Mila Jovovich?
Yeah. Mondachiwan molinesta bine.
She's really good then.
Yeah. But so that's a fun fact.
It's also Chris Tucker's finest hour.
Oh yeah.
Like,
he'd never matched that.
None of the rush hours are as fine.
Not even Friday. Let's see. What was the other thing?
I read that it was number 7 on Siskel's top movies of 1997, and number 2 on Roger Ebert's.
Oh yeah, that's one. This seems to be a movie that a lot of critics can agree on.
Yeah,
it seems they're like, this is not a movie that you recommend to friends, but it's a movie that's important because you have to face these things sometimes, and I mean, it's a brave choice as a filmmaker, like I was mentioning earlier, to like, and anybody working on this film to like want to go there for a period of time that it takes to make a movie, you know? That is not fun.
No. Yeah, and it really, like, because it didn't have, you know, what we kind of associate with drama, like, it didn't have a lot of high-handed monologues, it didn't have a lot of, like, soap opera action, like...
It doesn't moralize at all.
Yeah. No, that's a really good way to put it. Like, yeah, it doesn't grandstand at all. I don't know, I feel like, yeah, if you were an actor, you might not even see, like, a very juicy role for you, but, like... just reading the script, but like it really turned into like one.
Yeah.
Just the way that people would like look at one another, just hand gestures and stuff like that. So,
yeah. And there's also not a lot of sobbing for a movie about grief.
No.
There is a little bit here and there, but really it's like, it's real sustained.
Yeah, it's pretty sober.
Mm-hmm. Also, one more fact that I have about it is that, Russell Banks, who wrote the book, actually went on record saying that he feels that the film was an improvement on his novel.
You were saying earlier that like the movie or the book was had a linear narrative, and I feel like the non-linear narrative like really kind of makes it feel like a whole piece, like a whole mood. Like I don't know, I feel like doing it straightforward, it would have just gotten slow or lopsided or
there's something about
repetitive.
There's something about that choice that's really smart to break up the linearness of it.
As I get older, I'm really appreciating sort of non-linear narratives. Did you see Room?
Yes.
And like I don't know what you thought. I personally thought like the movie was solid, but like there was too much time out of the room. Like the scenes inside it were so interesting to me.
Yeah. And
the way that the director, like Lenny Abramson, kind of like builds up to things. Like in the opening scene, like you see like a shot of the toilet and it doesn't have like the lid on it.
Right.
And then like 30, 40 minutes into the movie, it's like revealed why. And you're like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But like there's so much time out of the room. I almost feel like if they had like gone back and forth and like drawn parallels to like how the trauma in the room is like leading them to like their adjustments out of the room, like how they can't like reconcile these two worlds, and then especially because like the climax of like them escaping from the room like is such a heart stopper. Like that, like I'm on like the edge of my seat, like I'm rooting for the kid, like I'm hoping, fingers crossed, and then you got like another 45 minutes of the movie that's kind of slow. Not a lot happens. It's a little bit more melodramatic, and I just kind of feel like if they had spliced it in together a little bit more and had their escape from the room coincide with them revisiting it for closure. I don't know, I feel like that would have made a more satisfying ending.
I see what you're saying. It makes it feel a little bit like, I mean, I think the point of that movie was sort of like how survivors of traumatic events like that like are, what happens to them afterwards and how like the healing begins. And in that way, I think it was a good movie. But I think the way you're talking about it now, it almost makes it seem like they made the choice to make the movie the way they did because of a gimmick a little bit, Like it was because I think when that movie was marketed, everything, all the stuff you saw in the trailer was from that first 45 minutes when they're in the room. Yeah. And so that makes it a like gimmicky thing. And then there's like this reveal. They're like, oh, they actually get out. So that could be... I like your idea, though. I bet that would be a totally different movie if they had broken that up.
Did you ever see Lenny Abramson's other movie, Frank?
I did, yeah. I loved Frank.
I loved it, too.
Actually. And
like, what a jump from, like, Frank to Room. Like,
yeah. But it has, like, another reveal, though, when you think about it. If you didn't know already that Michael Fassbender's in that movie. Spoiler alert!
Spoiler alert. You can't tell by his dreamy voice.
Yeah. Bad.
He's so dreamy.
He is dreamy. I think that's all my fun facts.
Yeah, I didn't write down too many fun facts, because I just wanted to talk about like the movie, like how like this is like, I don't know, it struck me as like a poem. Like I know that they like read a literal poem, but it just kind of like struck me as like it was like literal, but not super literal. Like it was more just about like the feelings and the emotions, like transitioning from like one thing to another. And, I mean, really, like in like the reveals, like I don't know how long it is in the movie before you realize that like a school bus crashes.
Yeah, I guess I knew that coming in, but they don't tell you that right away, do they?
No, like it takes like
it's an ambiguous tragedy for a long time.
Yeah, like the first 10 minutes, like you know that there's like been an accident, right? You don't know what it is, and it might be that you don't know entirely what happened. Because I was watching it with someone, and it was when the bus like started sinking. He's like, "Oh God, that's what happened." Oh, and that's probably like 40, 50 minutes into the movie.
Yeah, it's quite a bit in there.
Yeah,
that's a very interesting point because I knew that coming into the movie, and that if that's when you find out that that's the tragedy, that must be a real shocking moment.
And see, someone You said that, like, you're not going to tell a friend that, like, oh, we're going to go see this movie where a bunch of school children die.
Yeah.
That's how I heard about the movie. It's like, it's about this town where, like, the school bus crashes, and I was like, oh, man, I got to see that movie. I like them heavy. What can I say?
Yeah. I mean, this is one of those films that you can't... I mean, I can't recommend it to somebody. I can't be like, check this out if you feel like... I mean, I'm glad we're talking about this. I'm glad you made me watch it again, honestly. Yeah. When I watched it the first time, I was like, well, never need to see that again. But I'm glad I watched it again. I feel it's one of those hard films that you just have to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's rewarding, but not in a, like, traditional escapist sense, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. I felt a little better in my grief after watching it, if that makes sense at all.
Yeah. That does help.
And I don't know why. Because not like anyone in that movie feels better by the end of it.
No, not really. Maybe Sarah Polley a little bit.
I guess, like, maybe it was just sort of, like, when I'm watching the movie, like, because, like, I feel it's a very, like, immersive film. Like, it's one that I can, like, just sit down and watch and sort of lose myself in.
Sure.
And maybe, like, I just, like, have that, like, sense of sympathy, like, with the characters, like, because it feels like I was sharing my emotions, like, or they were sharing them with me.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I felt better. Like, it kind of felt a little therapeutic.
A little cathartic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to hear the movie I want to do for next week?
I do.
So we've watched a lot of good movies for this podcast so far, I would say.
Movies.
Well-made films, though they're all really well done.
Yeah.
I think it's time for some garbage.
Sure.
Have you ever watched American Anthem?
No.
Okay. Well,
I've never even heard of it.
That's the movie we're going to watch.
American Anthem?
It's from the 80s. It's a gymnastics movie, and it's just terrible. It's directed by the person who directed Purple Rain. I can't remember their name. So
God.
It's bad. And here, I don't know. I haven't seen this movie in over 15 years. So
4 out of 10 on IMDb.
It could just be bad. We're going to get here next week and just not have anything to talk about.
We will find reasons to praise it, no doubt. I was going to say, I felt that, like, after Sweet Hereafter, we needed a palate cleanser.
I hope this isn't like Ipecac or something. It just makes it worse.
I mean, you know, part of this is we're supposed to sort of show a wide breadth of films. And, you know, find reasons to enjoy movies that aren't traditional art.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, Lord knows I love trash.
Well, I hope this doesn't disappoint in that arena. It could just be bad. But we'll see. I don't know. I don't remember it that well.
When was the last time you saw it?
Probably 2000.
Oh,
2001.
really?
Yeah, a long time ago.
Oof.
So it was on like TBS or something, and
okay.
I watched it with commercials, which was ugh. And then at the time I had some friends who were doing like Mystery Science Theater 3000 style watching of movies, and this was one I brought to the table.
Oh,
and
okay.
I felt really cool because they were all older than me, and I was like, here's the movie I've got. And I think it made an impression on them.
Oh, yeah?
They never asked me back.
Do you still watch MST3K?
Yeah, there's so many online, and what I really like, that's my happy place.
Yeah.
I don't even need to finish the movie sometimes.
Yeah.
I can just put one on, and like, and they don't always make me laugh, you know, gutbusters, but there are some that I just double over crying, and it's usually like if they start me chuckling and then like are able to keep that momentum going.
I mean, they are artists with like the running joke.
Yeah.
Like no one does like a running gag the way that those guys do. I was watching Puma Man not too long ago with Donald Pleasance, and I was watching it and I was like, God, this movie looks so crappy, and it's so shittily made. And I realized it came out like the same year as Escape from New York.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh, Donald Pleasance. And how he always pronounces it Puma Man.
Oh man, you were watching the Mystery Science 3000 version of it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And it's like they say Puma Man, it's, you know, a man who's like part Puma. But it's like they showed us just one word, so the guys keep calling it Pumaman.
That's good stuff. Are you a Joel fan or a Mike fan?
I'm a Mike fan. I didn't come into MST3K till like later on. Mm-hmm. Like the show had already like wrapped up essentially. Like by the time I like discovered it.
Right.
And Mike was so cute back in the day.
That's true. I think I lean more towards Joel.
Yeah.
I like the Joel episodes, just because they tend to be not so interested in like packing it full of jokes, and also like a little kinder. Oh, okay. I feel like when Mike got in there, got a little mean. Don't get me wrong, I'll watch a Mike episode like that, but yeah. If I had to pick one, I think I lean a little more towards Joel.
Yeah, I wonder about that. Like, you know, some of these people like probably put their heart and soul into these movies, and they come out like this.
Yeah.
And then there's just like snarky robots, like cracking wise, like, yeah.
It's not like a Weird Al parody, is it? To have your movie.
Yeah, where it might be like an honor to like have Weird Al cover you. This might be like a mark of shame.
Yeah, they're just being mean, kind of, but to hilarious effect.
Yeah. Oh, I'm a big fan.
Well, follow us on Twitter.
Yeah, X-Rated Movies.
And Facebook.
Rated X Movies.
And, we'll see you here next week.
Tweet at us for G-rated responses. You'll want to talk to Ryan. For, like, hard NC-17, like, immediately calling you Hitler at the drop of a hat, I will respond.
Can't wait for those tweets to roll in now. Can't wait.